Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host Ilene, and on this week's program, our guest Alora Haynes shares the incredible story of choreographer Alberto Alonso, his ballet Carmen Suite in performance soon at Santa Fe College Fine Arts Hall with ABT dancers and the Gainesville Orchestra. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I'm delighted to introduce my guest, Alora Haynes, Chair, Santa Fe College, Fine and Performing Arts and Entertainment Media. And Alora, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Ilene.
Well, and your title keeps growing.
Yes.
Performing Arts, yes. First dance program, Performing Arts, Fine Arts, Performing Arts, Entertainment Media. And actually, a vision. You're a visionary for what Santa Fe College art program, performing art program has become.
Well, Santa Fe has been a wonderful grounds for me to let these things, put the seeds there and let it all grow. It's a very collaborative environment and a very supportive. The administration has really supported me. It's been a wonderful place for me.
Indeed, I know. And this Carmen Suite, this performance that's coming up, we're going to talk about it, then we're going to go to the backstory because it is so intertwined with your own life and your passion for dance and your vision and bringing this all together. It's an incredible story.
Thank you.
But first, tell us what's going to happen at Santa Fe College Fine Arts Hall. Give us the dates and what's happening.
Right. November 8th and 9th. Both evenings, the performance is at 7:30. We will be watching Carmen Suite in its entirety, and it will feature Sarah Lane and Cory Stearns, principal dancers of American Ballet Theatre, with also Luis Ribagorda, who is actually Sarah's husband, and he'll be another featured dancer, and Davis Robertson, who is a former Joffrey dancer. He's also the director of the New York Dance Project. I say this because the New York Dance Project is the corps de ballet involved.
It will be, okay.
Right. And then fortunately for us, we have live orchestra with Director Evans Hale conducting. And, you know, all of these wonderful ingredients are coming together to make this very historic recreation of a ballet that was choreographed by a once master artist in residence, Mr. Alberto Alonso at Santa Fe College.
Right. Of which your life has intertwined over and over again. And so everybody can go to the website, call for tickets, make sure you have that opportunity. And then on Friday night, you have a special VIP.
Yes.
Wonderful pre-performance, post-performance opportunity.
Keith Watson is helping us, and he's a partial sponsor of this production.
Great.
And we will have a pre-show cocktail hour from 6 to 7 for those who are in the VIP group. And then afterwards, there's a Meet the Artist reception. That we're very much looking forward to everyone getting to meet these lovely people who have all put a lot of time, energy, and love into this event.
And the home of the Santa Fe College Fine Arts Hall, it's beautiful.
Yes.
There's never a bad seat, by the way.
Thank you.
Everywhere. It's just a wonderful venue.
Yes. Well, thank you, Dr. Jackson Sasser.
Yes. We thank him. We thank him for this opportunity too.
Venue. You know, that's one of the many things that had to come together in order for this event to live on this campus finally.
Yes. And so to go to the backstory, first tell us just a little about yourself.
Well, I actually...
And your dance background.
Yeah. I had a career in Alabama with the Alabama Ballet. I was the ballet mistress and a soloist with that company for many, many years, about 15 years. And I worked under a wonderful woman by the name of Sonia Calero-Alonso. And Sonia was one of the great dancers who had been knighted. There's just a handful of them over time who were knighted. Dame Sonia Calero-Alonso, Dame Alicia Alonso, Dame Alicia Markova, Dame Margot Fontaine, and she was in that group.
In that group,
and
okay,
that group
was
a highly
respected
group. A group of dancers who also danced with many of the greatest male dancers. And in that time, everyone knew each other by word of mouth more so than the social media and things that we have access to today. So, but they all knew of each other. They all moved in the same circle. So I had heard of Alberto Alonso and the Alonsos, the great triumvirate of Alicia Alonso, Fernando Alonso, and Alberto Alonso. Alicia is the famous ballerina.
All right.
Fernando is the famous teacher, and Alberto is the famous choreographer. And he had a beautiful career, but also there was a point in his career that seemed to be a little bit controversial.
Right.
But at the other end of the controversy, which was the ballet Carmen,
yes,
he ended up getting great respect for being, on the vanguard of contemporary ballet at the time.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, we're getting a sense of the history.
Yes.
But we're going to take a quick break. There's so much more to share.
Absolutely.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about the ballet Carmen Suite with Alora Haynes, Chair, Santa Fe College Fine Arts. And Alora, it's so intriguing, okay? You're in Alabama, you're performing, but then there's a transition to Florida.
Right.
Okay, take us on that journey with you.
Sure. Every dancer hits a path where they go one way or the other, and many of the people that I performed with all had the hope that they would end up in New York. That was always the place to go.
The place to go.
Where you're going to be. So most of the people that were in the company with me were all shooting for American Ballet Theatre. And Sonia was a fine trainer, and many of the people that I danced with, Wes Chapman, Sean Borneman, they all went straight to New York and became ABT dancers. I had a very frightening injury in my back that made me think that, wait, what happens if I get injured and I can't dance?
What is my backup plan?
Right. And
this
so
is kind of a fear of all dancers.
Right. I chose to go the educational route, which wasn't the more popular route back in the 80s.
Right.
But it, for me, seemed to work, and both my parents had been educators, and so I decided to go to Florida State University.
We forgive you.
Yes, I know. Sorry about that. But anyway, while I was at Florida State, I got really fascinated with history because I've always felt like, as you train in the classics, and classical ballet was the thing that I was the most interested in, you have to know about all.
Yes, you have to appreciate that past
before you, and the fact that these people, pioneered all these different things.
And there you were meeting some of the greats.
Exactly.
I mean, how extraordinary.
Exactly. And I had heard Sonia on the phone with Rudolf Nureyev. I knew that she used to be engaged to Eric Brunn. I'm dropping names.
All these. No, that's okay.
Some people know those names, and some people aren't aware. But along the way, I started to do my master's thesis about the difference between the Bolshoi and the Kirov choreographically. And I was fascinated because the two cities are just as different as their choreography. Moscow has the big onion buildings, all the big bright colors.
Yes,
all of their music has this big bravura crescendos and like circus-like looking lifts.
Right.
Whereas in St. Petersburg, it's very classical, very European looking. Everything's very preserving of the arts.
What a great explanation. Thank you.
Yes. And I was also fascinated to find out that they all everything had to be run across the Ministry of Culture and had to be approved of before it went on stage.
Okay, so it's not. Yes.
It wasn't a given like it is in the States.
Right.
That someone
that you'd choreograph and it would be performed. It has to be, in a way, looked at, censored.
So I found the Ministry of Culture's book of censorship, and I was going through it, and they were showing all the different people that had worked at the Bolshoi. There was really only one name that wasn't Russian. It was Alberto Alonso's.
So it definitely
caught my attention.
Caught your attention.
And
right.
it was a forbidden ballet in 1967.
Whoa.
What in the world was forbidden in 1967? Yes. And I went, Carmen, it's one of the most popular ballets in the world.
What did they see in it that was...
Why would it have ever been forbidden? Then I started to go deeper and deeper into the research and realized that at the time in 67, when Maya Plesetskaya was seeking out a choreographer, she wanted to do something completely different. She wanted to go and
stretch her dance
contemporary.
wings.
It was the first peek under the Iron Curtain from Moscow to the West. Wow. with Alberto. She had heard about Alberto, so she went to see a production of a ballet called El Solar. His wife Sonia was performing. She was the star of the ballet. She sat in the audience with her mother and said, I want to dance like that woman. She looks like she's been bitten by a snake.
I want to do that.
I want to move like that. So at the intermission, the show wasn't even over. They go backstage and she says to Alberto, I love what you're doing. Would you please choreograph Carmen for me? He said, It would be my dream.
Oh my gosh.
So off they go.
Okay, I see it all taking place.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then they had to try to find someone to do the music. They wanted to keep it similar to the Bizet, but not exactly. And then Alberto had also the issue of making sure that his ballet didn't look anything like the French choreographer.
Okay, right.
So he was trying to do something new with Carmen, and then they asked Khachaturian, they asked Shostakovich. Neither one of them would touch it. So Maya's husband, Rodion Chadrin, repositioned the music using mostly strings and a ton of percussion. So we're looking forward to...
Yes, so this is what we will hear with Gainesville Orchestra.
Absolutely.
Oh, fabulous.
So they put this ballet together in 1967, but a lot of things about it had never been seen. There had never been body-to-body choreography, female, male. There had never been a leotard with fringe on it as a costume. Right. They're used to seeing the platter tutu.
Right. You couldn't even get close to. Right.
No one was ever partnering from the legs the way they were, with the feet turned in.
There was not that sensual expression.
Right. I mean, the Ministry of Culture told Maya, you've made a prostitute out of a Spanish heroine.
Wow.
So it was censored when it first came out. It was supposed to go to Canada. They took it off and put Nutcracker there instead. And she...
Okay, quite a switch.
Yes. She persisted and persisted until finally the Moscow Ballet brought it back. And now it's a treasure of that company. Oh,
what a wonderful perspective. Thank you for this history. Sure. We're going to take another quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about Carmen Suite. And Laura, this is all fascinating. Okay, tell us how your connection with Alberto Alonso evolved.
Sure. In that time that I was reading about him and reporting about the Bolshoi and everything, I really felt like I knew him before I even met him.
Right. You felt strong connection.
Exactly, because I just thought it was, what an incredible pioneer he must have been to do all of this. What a talent. And so right about that time, I met one of his former students, a woman named Marta Maduro, who was lovely and a teacher in Jacksonville. We became fast friends. We both loved ballet so much and loved ballet history.
A bond.
Yeah. And she started to tell me her more intimate understanding of the ballet Carmen, because she had been in Cuba when he came back from Moscow. She was one of his students, and he talked about the whole process.
Right.
And how everything happened and everything.
So she heard it firsthand.
Yeah, and so I got to hear a little bit more deeper information from one of his students' perspective, and I just thought that was great. And so time went by, and I got a phone call one day, and she said, Laura, you're never going to guess who's in Mexico, and he needs to defect. And, you know, this conversation had happened, and I'm like, I have no idea.
Right.
She said, it's Alberto. He's stuck. His
son,
Cuba, yeah. he went to Mexico to choreograph, and his son got on an inner tube with 5 of his friends, and they went across the water and landed in Miami, and Alberto saw him on television and said, I can't go home.
No, he's got to go find his son.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
wow, incredible.
I said, let me see what I can do. This was 1993.
Okay, all right.
I said, let me go to Santa Fe and let me talk to some people there and just tell him to come. We'll find something. We'll think of something. So she says, well, where will he stay? And I said, he can stay at my house. And my dear sweet husband.
Ed said, okay.
I was wonderful about it, because I just said, there's this man, and he's so incredibly talented, and he's a part of history, and he needs to be someplace. He needs to be taken care of for a little while.
This is sort of your calling, your destiny. You
were
were meant to be drawn to this.
I felt that way.
Yes.
So I went to school, and Larry Tyree was the president at the time. I told him, is there any way we could find some work for him just for this short period of time? I'm sure some other company's going to hire him away.
Right.
We will have had him for the length of time we have, and we can all be inspired by that.
Exactly.
Time.
I mean, that's a gift.
Yeah. And
a dance gift.
Everyone at Santa Fe opened the doors and said, bring him on over. he came, and I started calling different companies, and a lot of the companies just didn't really know that much about him. They didn't have the knowledge
Your
of
sense
the
of history of that.
I would
I can
tell
say-
them a little bit about it, or maybe they would say, "Isn't he really old now?" You know, people didn't really have the same excitement about it that I had.
Or
I
the
did my best.
appreciation, or-
Yeah. But long story short, he stayed with us at Santa Fe College for almost 18 years.
Yes, what an incredible opportunity.
It has been. And you know, Santa Fe even went one step further and gave him the title of Master Artist in Residence, because there were
Fitting.
times when he was hired away to Tokyo to stage the ballet there, or Argentina, or he was with Ballet Hispanico for a while, and he could go and come
And then
back.
still come back.
And then we
Artist
all
in
went on
residence.
from there. And you know, there were times when he would sit and tell me about some of the worrying about losing his relevance in the period of history, because he had left the country, and they really stopped talking
And
about
that,
him.
right, they erased him
Right.
from their history.
So at a certain point, I
How
said, you know,
painful.
you really should write a book or something. And he would start trying to tell me, and he couldn't do anything chronologically. We were over
So-
here.
and then we went here.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
We were dancing there.
Yeah, so I said, well, what about if we just turn on a camera and start taking some of this?
Yeah.
So there was people at the college who had been working in filmmaking who were helping us start to put together some of all these stories, and I suddenly realized this is
it.
bigger than us.
Yes.
And we found a Cuban editor, Ricardo Acosta, to come from Canada to come down and help us put his story together. So we created a beautiful documentary, Dance of My Heart,
Yes.
that tells the story of Alberto and his great love for his wife, Sonia Calero-Alonso, and the fact that she was the muse, actually, of the ballet Carmen. So we got to talk about their love for each other, their love for choreography and the dance world, and their development of the Cuban style of ballet while
Right.
they were in Cuba, their influence over Maya Plesetskaya and that lovely ballet. And now
you
here
could
we
fit
are.
all these pieces together, right?
There
And
will
now-
be a little bit of the film that will introduce the actual ballet when
Oh,
it performs
what
on
another
the
wonderful-
8th and 9th.
Okay, we're glad to know. And now
Yes.
when we come back, we're going to talk about Sonia. And
Absolutely.
this is just, it's just a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for this knowledge. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're talking with Alora Haynes about Carmen Suite. And Alora, tell me about Sonia.
Well, Sonia is the brain trust and the muse of the ballet
Of the
Carmen
ballet.
Suite. And we tried to bring that out in the film when we made Dance of My Heart, to make sure that everybody knew before Maya there was Sonia.
Right.
And he's been Alberto has been inspired by her for many, many years. Many of the ballets that he choreographed were because of her, because of their collaboration with one another as artists. But she is still working. She's
I love knowing
amazing. I
this,
don't think
yes.
she'll kill me for saying she's 85 because
Okay.
she looks.
Thank you. Yes, much younger.
Much
Very
younger.
vital. She's part of this restage. She is the person
Absolutely.
restaging this. Really, the
I have enjoyed
the-
watching her work with those dancers in New York so
what
much.
a great opportunity. I know you've
Yes.
been there, immersed in the rehearsals. I mean, this
Yes.
is what you know and love.
For me to have gone from reading it on the page to now seeing all
Seeing
these
it.
players, and then seeing this ballet be recreated in this century too,
Yes.
is really a beautiful full circle.
It is amazing. So when you're up in New York, give us a sense of what it's like. You are-
It's a lovely labor of love.
Oh.
Everyone involved with this project is loving the project, loving Sonia, loving hearing her kind of pull from Alberto's inspiration.
Right.
She's still giving some of the same corrections that he gave to
that he
Maya.
gave.
and
Right.
She was there at every single time, heard all of that. So they're all hearing all of this and being lifted, inspired by this. They know that it's history being remade too. They all understand
There's
that.
a significance to this performance, to this dance.
Yes, we've had writers from Point Magazine and Dance Magazine following the story. Toba Singer is coming down to be a part of the panel discussion.
Oh,
that's
right. You said that will be, tell everyone, Friday?
Yes, on Friday at 2 p.m. We're giving a little more context of the ballet in a panel discussion, which is basically
Excellent.
just the historical perspective of this ballet. It's open to the public.
The public,
and
everyone's
free.
invited.
Many of the college students from the humanities classes and dance classes and English classes are all coming
To
and even
understand the relevance.
social and political conversation that's happening.
Yes, this
Yeah.
was a whole, when you
Yeah.
talk about it, this is also a part of that sense of
And
political
Sonia is
history.
giving that history also to the dancers, because it wasn't just controversial in the movement. There is a message of freedom over oppression.
Yes, mention the masks.
Absolutely. There's a costume of the mask, which has two faces, because all of the dancers involved that are the people of the community are considered to be two-faced.
Right.
Because when there is a authority figure around or someone from the military, they act one way. They're very stilted and very, composed. But when they take the mask off, they're free. So there's many of these dissonant messages inside of the choreography, and this was Maya and Alberto getting together and discussing their two countries, their government, and the fact that they were going to break free. Let's use some of what we're doing here.
Use the arts to express this, to
use
help
our
us
voice.
break through, to find the voice,
Right.
and that is so much what people find within the arts, certainly now,
Absolutely.
and always through history.
We're so grateful to have been
Yes.
able to give Alberto a platform to come to the
to
States
have that voice here.
and to reinvent himself and to not have to censor himself when he was choreographing all that time for those 18 years that he was with us. All of those ballets that he did with the dancers at Santa Fe had a message of freedom inside of them.
Yes.
He even did one about when he
Extraordinary.
became an American citizen.
Oh,
That was really very exciting, and he used all of his favorite patriotic songs in that ballet, and so he had a whole different career.
And Santa Fe, the dance company there,
Yes.
you have all of his works. That is
We
a
do.
gift
Yeah,
that I know you
absolutely.
cherish.
Yes, we do.
And tell us one more time when we can attend
Absolutely.
for Carmen Suite, just so we'll remember. I'm getting it on.
Friday.
Everyone's putting it on their calendar now.
Thank you. Friday at 2, we have the panel discussion with Toba Singer, who is from Point Magazine. She's going to present her book about the Alonsos. And then also
wonderful.
Robert DeWarren, who was one of the first people to do Carmen when Alberto came to the United States. Myself and Sonia, and we'll all be there discussing the history. That's at 2 on Friday. Friday night, 7:30, and that's VIP night.
Yes, so you
So
have the
those who want that
pre-party.
ticket, we'll have the pre-party and the post-reception Meet the Artist, and then of course Saturday at 7:30 also.
Right, we have another opportunity. But Alora, you have made it, you have danced it for us. It is dancing right now in front of me because of your wonderful sense of history and Alberto Alonso and Sonia and the importance of Carmen Suite, and I appreciate it. Of course, we value Gainesville Orchestra providing the live music and the sense of the movement and the moment.
Yes.
Will be appreciated by all.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alora.
Yeah.
And I hope I will see you at Carmen Suite. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care.